Good morning. It says I'm live. Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday to you. We're back for another coffee and chat after last week we missed out. And I hope you've had a good start to your week so far. So I'm going to start off today. Our topic is about alternatives to walk. So when we can't walk our dog or it's not the best option, we're going to be talking about 20 ways um, that 20 ways that we can have fun with our dogs, that we can enjoy life with our dogs without having to have walks. So we'll get to that soon. But I just wanted to tell you about my oil of choice this week, which is lemon, lovely lemon. And this is such a simple, basic oil. The juice of lemon, and this is made from the juice and the rind of the lemon, and it's just delicious. It's sweet, it's tangy, it's sour, it's all of those things, and I absolutely love lemon. And it's really, as I say, a really simple sort of oil. It's not one of the fancy exotic plants or anything. It's just a simple oil, but it's really profound. It's really got some beautiful properties. And one of them, we feel is it's cleaning, it's antibacterial, it's antifungal, it's a very cleansing kind of oil, but it's also an analgesic, so it's also great for pain. So sometimes I use this for Charlie specifically if he has sore joints or something. I sometimes offer him this as his alternative to ginger, which is his favorite, and he quite likes it. He really he'll stay near the bottle, or he'll take some good whiffs and then go and lie down. So analgesic properties as well. And then another one is the what was I going to say about the other one? Oh, it's according to this book, The Aromatic Dog by Nayana Morag. She says she likes to use it specifically for hyperactive dogs who tend to run when they're scared, especially if they are underweight or prone to illness or lack of trust in themselves and their owner. So, yeah, this might be a good one to try if your dog is really hypersensitive, hyper aroused. They tend to run easily or spook easily, and they lack trust in themselves and their guardians. So, a good one to try for that as well, lemon. So, let's get on to our topic then. I'm just going to put that aside. And our topic being today, as I said, 20 ways to enjoy time with your dog without having to walk them. So I first want to look at what are walks all about. And we come from a society that you have a dog, you have to walk your dog. And specifically where I live here in Europe, it's pretty big that you have to walk your dog 2-3 times a day at least to give them the necessary exercise and outlet that they need. And I was pretty taken aback by that because I grew up on a pretty big property with my parents, and we had sometimes 6 dogs at a time, and we never really went anywhere with them. Sometimes the some of the breed dogs, like our boxers or the Rottweilers, we went to my parents took them to training classes, as it were. But the rest of the time they just hung out at home. They hung out with us kids, they hung out with whatever we were doing, whatever the family was doing, or they just chilled in the garden. And it was a really big garden, so they could really run and play. We had a swimming pool as well, so sometimes they would swim. So they certainly got exercise on the property, but they actually never left the property. We didn't go anywhere with them. We never took them on holiday or anything like that. So it was rather foreign for me when I moved to Europe and, found out that I had to walk my dog 3 times a day. And I was quite nervous about this, and I had to, do it. And it's, for those of you who know me, when I got Charlie in my life, it was really difficult because he wasn't happy on walks. He was really super hyper aroused. He was really scared of everything. And it was walks were not fun. They were anything but fun. They were actually the worst part of my day, was to get out and walk my dog. But everyone kept telling me he needs exercise, he needs to get outside, he needs to get used to everything. And so I followed their advice, and hence, anyway, long story, here I am today. But I just feel that we need to sometimes reconsider what society thinks walks should look like, and what the purpose of walks are. And most of us, I'm sure, will agree that one of the reasons we get dogs in our life is so that we can get out into nature with them, and because we know that We feel good when we're in nature. We feel good when we're out there getting fresh air and exercise. And it is the same for our dogs, but for most dogs. And, when people used to walk their dogs years and years ago, 10 years ago even, there weren't nearly the amount of dogs there were. There weren't nearly the amount of people there were, and cars and traffic and things going on. Neighborhoods seemed to be a lot quieter years ago. Now they're really noisy and busy. People are moving around. There's playgrounds, children screaming, doing lots of things, loads more traffic, loads more building. There's around every corner, there's new buildings going up. So there's a lot more environmental stimulation out there. It's not just like a gentle walk around the block, or sitting in a park for a few minutes, or even an hour or whatever. It's really high energy. You go out there and it's like buzzing. And we live much busier lives, and so we have this tick list that we have to do. Get this done, get this done, get this done, and then walk the dog is one of those tick lists. So quickly now, okay, it's time to walk the dog. Quickly get out and get out, get back in again as quickly as you can. And so walks I believe, have lost their flavor. They've lost what they were really originally. The reason we walk dogs was to just be relaxed and have fun and get some good healthy exercise and fresh air. And I just don't believe that our environment, or many of our environments, are suitable for that anymore. Because we are, as I say, we are hypersensitive and stressed ourselves. Our dogs are hypersensitive and stressed. And so very often, um, the environment that we're walking in our dog, or choosing to walk our dogs, is just not suitable. And because we have this fixed mindset of, well, the dog has to be walked, the dog has to have exercise, they have to have opportunities to sniff and toilet, obviously. What else can we do? And there is loads we can do if we start to expand our mind, our fixed mindset of what it looks like to exercise a dog, or what it looks like to have fun with a dog, or what it looks like for the dog to explore an environment. So these are some of the ideas I'm going to share with you today. And some of these are going to be really obvious, like, oh gosh, why didn't I think of that? Or things that you know already, but perhaps forgotten about. So here are some. This is not always, some of the things here are for dogs who are suitable, that they are sociable dogs, but they just perhaps the environment that you walk in, like for instance, in my neighborhood, I don't walk my dogs directly in the neighborhood. There are so many dogs. There are so many kids on skateboards and roller skates and whatever, which is just too difficult for Charlie, and for myself too, because I have to be super vigilant of what's going on. And there's cats everywhere. So it's not a fun environment. So I don't walk in the neighborhood. I choose to walk elsewhere. I choose to get in my car and drive somewhere. And so we don't have 3 walks a day, because I can't drive 3 times a day to go and do that. It's again, you have a choice as to where you want to walk. You can make it really difficult for yourself, and you can, a lot of us have this thing, well, we need to train the dog to walk on a leash. We need to train the dog to ignore cats. We need to train the dog to ignore the children and the skateboards and all those things. But we don't have to. We can choose other ways, to have fun, to entertain our dogs, to um, get out there and enjoy nature and enjoy time together with them, without having to do that, without them having to fit in to what society expects us to do, or what we have to fit in to what society expects. Now, I just want to caution you that I'm not saying we should run riot and just let our dogs go off leash and do everything they want to, and not listen to us, etc. But I just think we need to shift the focus somewhere else, because we can meet our dogs' needs in a much more fun, enjoyable way if we just get more creative about our time with them. So let's get on to some. So first of all, instead of your normal, as I say, neighborhood walk, or a specific dog walking trail where there's so many dogs and so many people, you can choose other things. Places like, these just came to my mind: campsites, a harbor, office parks. So office parks, generally people are all in their office in the daytime, and they have pretty gardens around there. So sometimes you might be able to just walk around the office parks. Shopping centers when they're closed, obviously, if you can go, if they like the stimulation of watching people coming and going, that's another thing. But also, if your dog doesn't like the overstimulation, you can go to shopping centers when they're closed, when they're off, yeah, when they're closed. And again, they often have shopping centers have even their car parks have lovely gardens and little places, lots of places to sniff around and look around. So giving your dog some really different smells from what they're used to going, on their usual walks. Tennis courts, garden center. I love visiting garden center. And these days, more and more places, because more and more people have dogs, are allowing dogs to come to certain environments. So something like a garden center, visiting a garden center. Obviously, you would have your dog on lead, and they would have to be sociable, but a completely different environment for them to sniff around and walk and enjoy. Or tennis courts. Charlie absolutely loves. he's a ball junkie. He loves ex-ball junkie, but he loves his tennis balls, and so just we wander around the outskirts of tennis courts, and he finds the tennis balls that have been, volleyed over the fence and landed in the field and haven't been found. And he sniffs in the grass and finds the tennis balls around the tennis court. So just get creative. There's so many fun things we can, alternatives to where we normally, just our routine little walks, which are not sometimes really not fun. Another one is visit a friend. Maybe you have a friend who has a nice garden or a bigger space or just something different. Just visiting their home. They don't even have to have a garden. So that you could take your dog with and say, can I come for a cup of tea and let my dog, see a new environment, new people. This is obviously if they do like people, meet new, see, have some social interaction with other people, different smells in that household, and just getting out and visiting in a different environment can be, they say, just as good as a holiday. So visiting a friend, take your dog to work with you. So again, more and more companies are allowing people to bring their dogs to work, because very often, because due to separation anxiety or just having a dog in that environment, they're realizing is so much more healthy having your dog with you. So perhaps you could make some arrangements with your boss to take your dog to work some days and just have them there with you. And again, a completely different environment. You've got your dog with you, so you're giving them, you can always have that little shared moment of love and communication. And it's in, as I say, completely different environment for them. Or even when you're running errands. So some dogs dislike traveling in the car, but some dogs love traveling in the car. And you could take them on errands with you, take them, wherever you have to go, whatever errands you have to run, just pop them in the car with you and say, come on, we're going on an adventure. We're going here, we're going there, we're going everywhere. And that's mental stimulation. It's physical stimulation. Even if you think, well, they're just riding in the car, it takes some balance for dogs to ride in the car. So there is an amount of physical stimulation in there as well. Setting up a doggy play date. So getting a dog friend to come over to you instead of, or going to another person's house where they've got a doggy friend. If they like dogs, set up a doggy play date and set up a little play area for them and some toys and a splash pool if it's summer, and just let them have fun with another doggy. You rent a field. These days, there's loads of fields you can rent, even people's gardens. Even people who have big gardens are now open to renting, or for a small fee, they will allow you into the garden with your dog on leash to sniff around and, again, see something different. So look out for those. You can Google now. I forget the name of them, but there's actually networks now, hubs, as it were, on the internet, that you can go and search in your area and find people or properties that are being let out for this specific purpose for you to walk your dog. And you can obviously do it so that you can rent it just for you and your dog. So if your dog doesn't like other dogs, then they don't have to be there at that time. So It's just, that is a special space that you can let your dog off leash perhaps, and just really have some fun time with them without having to worry about other dogs and people. So number 6, visit a zoo or a farm. Some dogs find animals really over arousing, but I have actually found that if they're in a fenced area, or they're in cages or whatever it is, like the little farm animals, the bunnies are in their cage, nobody can get to them, nobody can hurt them. It's sometimes really interesting for the dogs to just get the smells up close without, any harm being able to done. Now, obviously, you don't want to scare the animals, and you don't want your dog to be over aroused in those environments and scaring the animals. But I've found that generally it's quite interesting that when they're in that sort of what is it, domestic environment, that our dogs don't find them as um, um, perhaps they don't see them as prey. I don't know what it is, but my experience has been that they've been more relaxed around farm animals, or domestic animals in captivity, as it were. So maybe just go visiting a farm or a zoo. I know a couple of the zoos here now. Obviously, your dog has to be on leash, and they're not allowed to bark at the animals. But it's really interesting. Lots of very different smells around there. Um, you can do something called the deconstructed walk, which it looks like a walk. It's what you would possibly do on a walk, but it's in your garden, or in another, smaller area, some of the areas I mentioned. So it's really just, you put your dog on lead. Let's say that you're in your home. You put your dog on lead, and you may be walking around the house with them, in on leash, just like you would. Let them sniffing here, sniffing there. You might put some little treats around your garden or your house, and walk with them. So you are walking next to them, and they're on lead. So you're practicing some nice leash skills with them, but you're actually, doing it just in your own garden, or your own property, or your own home. And then you might sit down a little while, just like you might stop and sit on a bench. So you might stop and sit on your couch, and then give your dog a Kong to lick and chew, still while they're on leash, sitting with you. And these all mimic what you would possibly do on a walk, but you can do it right there in your living room or your own garden. So that's a deconstructed walk. There's something called a backpack walk, and I forget now who first came up with this idea, but I really like it. You can do this in your garden, or you can do it in an open space, where one of those rented fields, for instance. You take a backpack, and you take a whole lot of different things in there. So there may be one of your dog's favorite toys. There may be something for them to lick and chew and eat. And there may be some completely novel, different items in there, some novel, different scents or smells, feathers, a fallen bird's nest, whatever, a cheese sandwich, all sorts of different things that you might have in your backpack. And you go and have a little backpack picnic. So take one item out at a time, and the dog's like really interested, like, what's in that bag? What's going to come out next? And you take something out, and you present it to the dog. Let them sniff it, let them play with it, let them eat it, whatever it is. And then when you've finished investigating that one, you get the next one out. And so it's really just a fun experience. It's a way of, really connecting and communicating with your dog. It's an exciting game for them. They really enjoy it. And yeah, it's fun. So that's number 8, a backpack walk. Number 9 is go swimming. So again, these days there's swimming pools for dogs that you can hire, or a beautiful river or a lake, or something like that, where you can just go at a certain time. If your dog doesn't like other dogs and people, go on an off-season time, go at a later time when it's closed, and you can go and just let them swim a couple of laps, throw a stick perhaps for them, let them swim out and get the stick and come back, whatever it is. And that exercise is really, really exhausting, and they don't have to do it for hours. They just have to have a couple of laps. Is really, really hard work exercise for them. So just a short swim, or even go swimming with your dog, would be the best thing ever. So going swimming. Number 10 is all sorts of scent work. So one of the reasons we go for walks is that we want our dogs to sniff and enjoy the smells of things going around there. But there's loads of different ways we can do this. Scent work games at home. Um, I'll be running a course next month where we're going to go quite deep into different scent work games that we can play. It's a workshop, a 4-week workshop. So if anyone's interested, I'll put the link below. But lots of different things on how we can, build up their scenting abilities and specifics, searching for specific scent. Or what I do is I have a little scented mouse, a little soft mouse, which I scent with a specific essential oil, and they search for that. And there's endless ways you can place it, or where you can put it, or how you can put it, and ask them to search for that mouse and find it, which is really fun, outdoors, indoors, wherever. So scent games, even something as simple as sprinkling treats on the lawn, or even in your house, or in different containers for your dogs to get, all those kind of treat puzzles, all of those things that involve the nose and eating are all great activities for our dogs. Number 11 is a fun parkour. So you can use whatever you've got in your garden, flower pots, um, tables and chairs, benches, cushions in the living room, broomsticks, whatever you can find, and build a little parkour. I remember doing this with my grandfather's dog when I was just a little girl, building sort of little things in the garden with whatever I could find, and asking my grandfather's poodle to go under them or over them or around them, or I would run the little course with the dog. So really, it doesn't have to be a fancy agility course, just something fun, really something novel and fun that you can do either with your dog, or obviously with your dog. You're going to explain to them what you would like them to do, go through this, go under this, go around this. It's wonderful for our communication skills. We're building that trust, that confidence, and having fun with them as well. So build a little parkour. Number 12, dance with your dog. You've seen that cartoon picture very often with Snoopy and what's it, Peanuts? And he is just having fun, just turn on the music, dance with your dog. Dance. Usually, if you just start dancing, your dogs will start getting really happy and bouncing around and jumping and barking with you. We don't want them to get too over aroused, but it's great exercise and it's great fun. So even if you can allow your dog to have a bark fest and just jump around and have some fun. Nothing wrong with good old-fashioned fun. So number 13 is dog sports. Try a dog sport. There are so many new dog sports. It's not just the obedience and agility used to be the only two you could find. These days there are loads of different dog sports. Some like canicross, if you really like running with your dog in like real trail running. Canicross could be an alternative. Fly ball, where your dog, loves to run fast and catch balls. Fly ball is an option. Tracking and trailing. I love these two. These are my favorite, where you can teach a dog to search for people or follow a specific scent. There's even, you can teach your dog to find missing pets, so they get the scent of a specific pet and you trail behind them. They're on a long lead and off you go and you find a missing pet. I mean, wow, so many different things you can do. Trick training, tribal, and there's one called companionship, which I learned here in Austria, which is a multidisciplinary activity which involves nose work, so some kind of scent work where they have to find a toy and retrieve it, or identify a specific scent within a lineup. And then following that, you have a parkour that you do at different tempos with your dog. So slow, fast. So it's really concentrating. It's a lot of mind-body coordination. And at the end, it's a fun trick that you do together. So that's a fun activity. Another one we're going to be exploring in the workshop. So loads of different ones. And a lot of people say, yes, but I can't take my dog to any dog sports because they don't get on with dogs or people. These things are all online too. Most of these sports now you can actually do even competitively online. So you learn the sport through online courses or from video tutorials, and then you can compete with them too. So you can actually have competitions where you might be able to video your dog doing that specific task or activity, or whatever it is, and then from there you send your video in and it gets evaluated, and you can still earn titles just like you can, and you don't have to leave, don't have to go into those environments where there are lots of other dogs and people. So these opportunities really exist now. If you need more information, do contact me, but most of this you can find on the internet as well, which is great. So that's number 13. Number 14 is physio exercises. So many dogs who are, let's say, have had injuries, or perhaps they're getting really old and they're arthritis-y and they don't want to go on long walks anymore. It's really difficult for them. That doesn't mean we don't have to do anything. Just some really good massaging those muscles, doing a couple of really distinctive exercises which stretch certain muscle groups, and help them to keep their flexibility up, just like we would do a yoga routine or some kind of stretching routine. We can learn this from a professional physiotherapist. Obviously, you would have to either take them to the physio to get those treatments done. But most physios will show you at least 4 or 5 exercises that you can do with your dog at home, or learning a basic massage routine where you can really get in, massage those muscles nicely and get them working and get them warmed up and comfortable for your dog. So those kind of things, basic physio exercises or massage, is again a way of giving a full body workout, and you're doing it with your dog. You're really, sharing that love and that connection with them as well. So get your hands on your dog. Volleyball. Volleyball is one that I taught Charlie, and he really loves it. So basically, it takes a lot of coordination, and you build it up in small steps, but really fun game where you just have a really lightweight ball, where you can toss it to your dog, and your dog sort of jumps up and with their snout pushes it back to you. You catch it, and so you can, have these volleys, which is really fun. It takes a lot of coordination, takes a lot of movement, and a lot of energy for your dogs, but it's really great, and it's good teamwork as well, because you really have to, note how you're throwing the ball, at what height, at what intensity, and your dog has to do the same so that he sort of fires it back to you at just the right, speed, intensity that you can catch it as well. So volleyball. Number 16, boxes. Gosh, the amount of things you can do with boxes, all those packaging and boxes that you have from um, that you get from Amazon, etc. Keep those and use those. I just, when the mailman has now become our best friend, because the dogs know that they get the packaging from whatever the mailman's brought. They can, if it's something they just want to rip up, or if it's a big box that they can, that Charlie likes to grab it and then just move it all around the house, run around the house, or run around the garden with it and just have fun. And then him and Layla rip it to pieces, or Charlie loves to jump in and out, or underneath. They just have so much fun with boxes. And you can wrap things up and put them inside them. You can close the box up completely and then let them get whatever. They have to find their way into the box, past all the tape, past all the paper, that kind of thing. They absolutely love that. So boxes are amazing fun. Simple, easy, lots of fun. Blowing bubbles. Number 17, blow bubbles for your dogs. So obviously soap bubbles that are non-toxic. You can get them this, for kids as well. So kiddies bubbles are not toxic either. And yeah, just blowing bubbles and let your dog jump them, bite them, and just have fun, and catching bubbles. And yeah, what fun. Playing with water is another one. I haven't got it on here, but putting one of those little mini pools I've got for Charlie when we come back from walks on a hot day. He loves to paddle in pools, and I put his toys in there, and he digs them and he puts them out and brings them back in again. And he just loves playing in the water, just like a little toddler would. So playing in water is another one. ACE free work, I haven't mentioned, but that's number 18 on my list. And this is amazing for different kinds of enrichment. It's wonderful for us observing our dogs, looking for all sorts of clues about how they feel, body tension, their movement, what they really enjoy. And again, this is something we're going to be talking about in the workshop. So you use different stations, as it were, and at each station you might have a food kind of activity for them, or you may have a specific scent or a specific toy or a novel item. all sorts of things that you can introduce at these stations, and the dogs sort of investigate these different stations by themselves and see what it's all about. And from there's different layers that you can build into that. You can put in novel items that your dog might be scared of. Eventually, you start to slowly introduce these into the environment that they find really fun and interesting, and they slowly can acclimate to these as well. So lots of things you can do with Ace Free Work by the lovely Sarah Fisher. Number 19, social play. So a lot of the time we think of playing with throwing a ball or throwing a frisbee or having a tug, but there's lots of different social play ways that you can play with your dog. So hide and seek, um, tag, catch, as you call it in England, or tag, as you might call it in the States. Um, Playing, as I say, playing hide and seek, and just, sometimes just a bit of rough and tumble. If your dog is not too sensitive and you feel comfortable and there's that trust there, you could just have a good old wrestle and rough and tumble on the floor together, which is really fun. Another one I love doing is throwing a blanket over myself and let the dogs come and find me, or throwing a blanket over them, and they got to find their way out. And it's really fun. So obviously these kind of games take trust. As I say, your dog needs to be confident, and you need to have that trust, but it's a wonderful way of building trust. So you can start off in really little tiny steps and build that trust, but just engaging physically and just without toys sometimes, just you and your dog having fun together. So social play, number 19. And number 20, our final one for today, is teach your dog to do a household chore. So, lots of the time we have to spend time doing our responsibilities, going around the house, doing our chores and things that we need to do. We can involve our dogs in those too. We can say, come on, come and help me with this, come and help me take out the recycling, and they can help, carry a piece of recycling with you down to the cellar or wherever you have to take your recycling to the bins. I taught Charlie to help me with the laundry, for instance, because he used to steal socks and steal clothes and play keep away with them. So eventually I said, well, instead of me training you not to do that, why don't I train you to keep what you've got and bring it to a certain point? So he now he'll pick up socks and things from specifically from my son's room, who leaves his stuff on the floor. He will get his things and he'll bring them to me in the morning, and we'll go together to the washing machine, and he either puts them straight into the wash machine, or I say, no, it needs to go into the washing basket, into the laundry basket in the bathroom. So please come, let's go and take it over there. So he goes around and he picks up things and he brings it to the laundry basket or to the washing machine. And when I'm doing the laundry, then I ask him to help me to get the things from the laundry basket or carry something with him to the machine. So we have a lot of fun. He absolutely loves this job, and he knows pretty much my routine when I do it. So he's already preempted. He's already gone and got some laundry before I've even thought, okay, it's time to do the laundry. So he really loves that. So give your dog a job. Gardening with you. Dogs love to garden as well, to be part of the process. And if you feel like they're digging up everything that you're planting, have a little, area in your garden where they can really dig, and, you can hide their ball, you can hide their toys and things in this little sand pit, for instance. And so they can also do those kind of activities, digging and having fun in the garden. So, I mean, I can just think of so many more now coming, thinking about that sensory gardens where you have different herbs, that they can smell and investigate, and different plants, and yeah, different surfaces underneath, sand and stones and grass and all sorts of different experiences that they can have that they don't normally have in an everyday life or on their walks, on the normal walks that you used to take them on those rounds. So it's just different experiences. It's enrichment for mind and body. It's enrichment for their sensory experiences. And it's just fun to watch our dogs exploring different things, as well as us, having those different experiences with our dog. And, I find that walks as well, we tend to check out easily and just check out into our own minds and go through all the things that we have to do on our to-do list, as opposed to really spending time focusing on our dog and actually spending that time with them. And these other activities allow us to do that, because we often have to set things up for them. We have to watch them to see how they're doing it, to help them, step in and help them if they need some help, or to really just physically interact with them. So we are a lot more present and focused and giving them our attention and enjoying those moments together. So I hope you enjoyed that. Obviously, I want to just before I go, things obviously to take into consideration is what the activities have to be suitable for your dog. So if they're scared, you're not going to take them to a garden center, for instance, if you know there's going to be people and dogs there. So obviously it depends on your dog's own level of confidence, what they can handle, what they can't. It depends on their fitness level. We don't want to go and do canicross if your dog is 8 years old and has started, arthritis or something. You've really got to be mindful of your dog's capabilities and abilities and level of fitness as well as yours. So, and find something that you're doing together that you both enjoy. And it's all about the experience. I really want to remind you that it's about the experience. It's not specifically when it comes to training something new or learning a new dog sport. We can tend to get very fixed about this is what it should look like. This is the outcome. This is the goal I have to achieve, or I have to compete in it. And very often we lose the fun in it when it becomes that competitive. Not always, but a lot of the time it can be. So I really just want to remind you that it's about the experience that you're having with your dog. It's about the learning, the communication, the connection, the trust, the teamwork. It's not about an end goal. Just go out there and have fun. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to look perfect. It just has to be fun for you and your dog. Allow your inner child to express it the way they wanted to. Remember when you're little and you brought home this really really crazy picture or drawing of your mum and the family and the dog, and it didn't look anything like that, but mum said it looked beautiful and was wonderful, and it was your creative spirit coming out. So do the same. Just be creative with your dog. Allow yourself to express that joy and that connection in whatever way feels really good, without worrying about what it looks like or what other people think. So just enjoy that experience. Yeah, and then again, use when you're present with your dog doing these things, really use all your senses, not just looking at them, but listening and observing the little small body language signals that they're sending you, the joy. Enjoy that shared joy. Really feel that joy in you and the fun. So make it a real experience for both of you, using all of your senses, because you're going to be really fully present when you do that and enjoy it. So thank you very much for listening. I hope that gave you some ideas, perhaps some inspiration to do something different with your dog. And I would love to hear more about what you do with your dog. Perhaps I know this list is really endless. There's so many things we can do. So perhaps you have some more ideas that you would like to share. Pop it in the comments of this, in YouTube or in our Facebook group, in the Pause, Reflect, Connect group. You're welcome to post there as well. I'd love to hear all about what you enjoy doing with your dog, or some new ideas that you can share. So thank you again, everybody. I wish you a happy Tuesday and a happy week. And I will be back next week, and we'll see you then. Bye for now.